The Dark Tower follows a character by the name of Jake Chambers. He's a young boy living in New York, and he's having nightmares over an alternate reality where you find the most handsome man from England, Idris Elba, is in a gunfight with the most handsome fight from the United States, Matthew McConaughey, and they are fighting over protecting versus saving this giant phallic-shaped Dark Tower. The Dark Tower universe was written by Stephen King. He wrote 8 books in this series, and this is one movie, an hour and a half long, that tries to get through 8 books worth of material. And for me, I felt like this was rushed. I felt like this was a bastardized, abridged version of the movies. Like, you can tell there's all this verbiage that they use, there's all this lore, there's this mythos that they try to introduce, but they barely go into it. The main character, the boy, he has this powerful psychic abilities that he had no clue that he had, and by the end of the movie, he has full control over it. And how do you get from point A to point B in an hour and a half? Like, it makes no sense. I'm sure it makes sense over the course of an 8-novel series that he obtains these powers and has full control over them, but in this movie, it just feels incredibly rushed. It feels just off. The boy's alright. He's kind of detached. He's kind of emo. If that's what the character's like in the books, then he did a good job. If not, then I think his acting was a bit subpar. It could have been better. Matthew McConaughey. Oh, this is just one total miscasting of alright. Matthew McConaughey's character is in the business of kidnapping psychics from our world so they can use their power to destroy the Dark Tower. I like seeing him as this fun, happy-go-lucky guy, but this, he seems like he came straight out of his Lincoln commercials. He's got his hair, gelled up and spiked back. He's trying to do this kind of thick, evil accent. He just comes across to me as the guy from the Lincoln commercials. I don't know, he just doesn't feel menacing. He feels completely out of place. And the character himself, I don't understand his motivation at all. He's the man in black, and he's trying to destroy the Dark Tower. But the guy, he has the power to teleport to any world he wants to. And he has the power of magic where he can literally give people suggestions and they follow him. He literally tells characters in this movie, stop breathing. And they do, and they just die. And I just don't understand, like, you have the power of a god. What in the world is driving you to destroy the Dark Tower? They explain what happens when the tower falls, but they don't understand what's in it for him. Like, I completely don't understand why he's trying to destroy this tower. It makes no sense. I did like the performance of Idris Elba. He's an actor that I feel brings it in any role he's in, and he nails it in this movie. He's this badass gunslinger. He takes damage. He has all these wounds. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm rough. I'm tough. And I'm going to kill the Crimson Knight because he murdered my dad. I'm not a gunslinger, I'm an Avenger. That's pretty much what he's like, and I do like his performance. The CGI is good and bad. There's a lot of cool CGI scenes where he's like putting bullets into the guns and shooting them, but there's also like moments in this movie where they just ran out of the CGI budget. They have a nice fight scene in this movie where it's at night and you can't really tell what the hell is fighting with them, and you can absolutely tell this is a moment where the CGI budget just ran out for them. Another thing I noticed in the film is there's all these kind of comedic moments, these moments of brevity between the boy and Idris Elba. They're trying to kind of create this father-son relationship between the two. But all the moments are in the second half of the movie. And when you do something like that, it feels like the movie just takes a radical left turn about halfway from this kind of dark, serious, gritty movie where there's all these fantasy elements, there's people dying, and then it just kind of gets lighthearted towards the middle to the end. I don't understand. It feels like these scenes were reshot and inserted later. I think if they committed themselves to turning 8 books into 8 films and they had spent the first movie really world building and setting things up for the future, things would have gone a lot better. In this case, it feels like they just try to rush through this half-assed movie that blasted through 8 books worth of story into an hour and a half. I would just go with the books. This is a 4 out of 10 for me. It's just a really forgettable movie. There's just a lot lacking in it. That's my suggestion. Just read the books if you want to learn more about it. Don't go for the film.
Do they have guns and bullets in your world?
You're gonna like Earth a lot.
Sup?